Tight one. Had some up. I thought it was, other than the first half of that first period, where they came out better than we did. I thought it was a tight game, but need to find a way to score to win games, and we need to do that today.
What changes did you try to make from the first to the second period when we chatted?
I thought just in terms of the second periods and the long changes, obviously the penalties and the power plays don't help for them. I think it kind of the rhythm 5-on-5 kind of gets away, but I thought 5-on-5 I mean, for us, it's about maintaining some zone time and trying not to be one and done. And I think we've been talking about it all season. When we're not connected as a five-man unit, it's hard for us to play. It's hard for us to create. It's hard for us to defend, and it's hard for us to play offense. So, in terms of that, I thought we did a bit better job with that. But tight game. We had our chances at the end with the power plays, but couldn't get it done.
5 penalty kills tonight for you guys. If there is any silver lining, just what's working there?
I thought it was good. A few too many to give up, obviously. They had some good chances too, but I think try to stay aggressive, try to not give them too much time, especially this group that we played today. Yeah, I mean, it's I guess that's a positive, but at the end of the day, we didn't win the game.
Just how do you assess the way you guys played overall?
Yeah, they started a little better, I would say, than us, but then we grabbed a hold of that, and that was a pretty even game, I would say. Probably power play could be more decisive, I would say, and from the both sides, obviously our kill were very good, so that was kind of pretty tight till the end.
What made your penalty kill so successful tonight?
Well, Shesty obviously made a huge saves for us, and some of the guys did a couple block shots, which is leads to great effort, some details, but I mean it's working always all together.
Just be more decisive how on the power play?
Well, on the both sides, sometimes you try to make an extra play or not. Sometimes you just choose making wrong decision. So, I mean, it's part of the game, I guess. But we gotta just find a way to score the goals.
Does that extend to 5-on-5 too? Obviously, you guys didn't score tonight. Is what you're saying with the power play being more decisive? Does that kind of translate to 5-on-5?
No, I mean we had chances. We had our chances. Obviously, we couldn't score. So I'm not gonna say we gotta shoot every single one from anywhere, but we're creating chances, and we gotta find a way to score.
Defensively, just what's helped you be so successful on the penalty kill? You killed off 5 of those tonight. I know you mentioned Igor, but just as a unit as well.
Yeah, I mean, effort from all 4. I would say to be just in tight, try to help each other, and like I mentioned before, the good effort from the forwards and the D to willing to block the shots. That's really a huge part of the kill.
There were a lot of penalties tonight on both sides. Does that make it hard to get into a rhythm when there's so much special teams play?
Well, I guess some guys just sit on the bench from the both teams. Obviously, it's you got to make a little adjustment on a game, but yeah, it's been a lot of power play and PK, obviously. So that's been kind of broken rhythm. Yeah.
You've had a couple plays this year where you're mobile from the blue line, you crash the net when a player climbs the wall in the offensive zone. Do you feel like there's enough movement in the O zone when you guys are sustaining offensive pressure, or does it kind of get stale at certain times?
No, I mean if we have possession, obviously we try to create some just space for the forwards. Obviously they skill enough to take the D one-on-one and create some chances for themselves. So it's kind of both, I would say.
Got the early goal, but it felt like you guys maybe stabilized a bit after the first 10 minutes. Just how did you evaluate the start and then the response after the start?
Yeah, the same way you saw it. I thought. I thought they got momentum from the first shift, the drop of the puck. They were quick at the pucks. They were hard to run pucks. I thought, after the first 8 or 9 minutes, I felt like we were, we started to play, and from there on in, I thought we were fine.
Offensively, were you okay with the chances you generated?
I got to look at it again. I know we had a fair amount. We had a fair amount. We had a couple 2-on-1s, a breakaway. there were some plays in the offensive zone where I thought we had two on the inside. We delivered some pucks from the blue line. There was some opportunity there. So, is there ever enough offense?
Yeah.
Probably not. We always wish and want for more, but we didn't finish on the ones obviously that we had tonight.
What did Carson Soucy say to you when he came over to the bench when he was given the penalty shot? It looked like he was talking to you right away.
He wasn't.
Mike, I know you have no say in a situation like that. Were you surprised at all that it was a penalty shot? It's a little bit of a tough spot for a defenseman who doesn't typically take those.
I don't know if I was surprised. It's an interesting criteria in what designates a penalty shot versus a regular power play. I'm not sure I have a definitive answer for you.
Seems a little arbitrary.
Doesn't it?
What does Igor Shesterkin do for your team's momentum and just the way he played tonight as well? Obviously, you don't get the win, but just keeping him in it the way he did.
Well, I think he just quietly, makes timely save after timely save for us. I think he's one of the elite goaltenders in the league. I think he's had a real solid year for us. I don't think, we don't always give him the goal support that he probably deserves, but he certainly makes a lot of timely saves for us night in, night out. And I think, to have that guy in goal is certainly, it gives our guys a big boost of confidence. I can tell you that.
Mike, you get 2 power plays late. You don't score either, but are you okay with what you saw from the power play?
No, I think I would have liked to have seen us had more, quality execution. I think when you get those types of opportunities late in the game, that's a real opportunity to be a difference maker in the game. And and I think I would have liked to have seen us execute better, be more crisp, make better decisions. I thought that some of the decisions we made, when to shoot, when not to shoot, just things like that. I just didn't think we were as clean or as sharp or as crisp as I know they're capable of. And so from that standpoint, that was a missed opportunity, I guess.
Is Fox close?
Yeah, he's getting there. He practiced today, full capacity. He'll skate with us tomorrow, full capacity, and we'll go from there.
Just on the flip side, what did you think of the penalty kill tonight?
Well, they battled hard. They had a fair amount of them, so I thought they competed hard. Obviously, that they've got some dynamic people on their power play. Barzell, I think, is one of the better guys in the league on the half wall, and Horvat in the bumper is a real good shooter. I think Schaefer is emerging as an elite defenseman up top. So I think they've got a lot of pretty good pieces. They're a dangerous group. I thought our guys competed hard. They had a few looks, and Shesty was there to make the save when we needed him. But I thought our guys competed hard.
But Aaron was just talking about being dynamic in the offensive zone when you guys have like 30 or 40 seconds of offensive zone pressure. Do you feel like there's enough movement from all 5 guys out there when you have 3 shifts in a row of just sustained pressure offensively?
Yeah, I don't think it's the movement that's the challenge. I think sometimes when we get sustained offensive zone time, we got to be careful we don't spend it on the perimeter of the rink. It's important that we get people inside. Whether it be a net front presence or people at more than one. We need more people inside so that when we do ultimately get pucks there, we've got numbers to compete on pucks and create off the broken play or create off the shot, as we say to the guys all the time. So, I think the motion and the movement has been pretty good. I think sometimes the motion and the movement gets good to us, and then we don't get inside with enough people. And when that happens, I don't think, we get as much to show for it as the time that we spend there, if that makes sense.